Welcome again. Today I'm going to show you my trekking poles that I took on my Camino. They were very good. A lot of people didn't have trekking poles, and in my opinion, if you have them, you have a big advantage on the Camino. So sit back and enjoy. I found them great, especially in really expansive flat areas, because when you have that rhythm, you get like when you have the right technique, you get like bonus meters when you walk, and it makes covering 20 to 30 kilometers each day much easier. This is the fully set up pacemaker pole. It retracts for traveling, and I'll show you a bit more about that later. There's a lot of brands of trekking pole available, and the range in quality of them is enormous. There's ones that you can just buy as like an impulse item at a outdoors shop for like $5. On the other end of the scale, there's poles that cost like 400 euros. These, in my opinion, are sort of where the quality and the value meets. 70 Australian dollars for an entire kit, and they obviously serve me well for my Camino. This is the all-terrain model, if I can show you that. It's an aluminium shaft. It's very strong. It is a bit heavier than a graphite shaft, but it's much more durable than a graphite shaft. So I would look at getting something like this. When you walk, you want it reasonably straight. That's the setup I had. And when the pole passes through near the side of your body, you just give a little bit of downward pressure, just a little bit, and you propel yourself a little bit. And when you have the correct boots, like I showed you in part 1, they allow you to roll forwards a little bit. So it all helps create a beautiful rhythm, a walking rhythm, an effortless rhythm. So you like glide across the ground. And I found that it made my trek really enjoyable. When you've got a little bit of weight on this, it's only a little bit, but it really it helps preserve the parts of your body that are already under a lot of stress, because your pack is pulling down on your joints in your legs. So definitely get trekking poles. Here is how the pacemaker pole and most trekking poles retract. They have a twist lock mechanism. See there? Easy. There you go. Now, all of a sudden, this has become very easy to store. You can actually put this in the side of your pack. There's 2 soft compartments. I rarely used it for the poles. I used them for my documents, and I've explained that in the previous part. But that option is there for you. Critically, this allows you to put these in a bag, which you can then put in your suitcase and put obviously in your underfloor baggage when you fly. That's awesome. These have been retracted and they're set up for traveling now. They go back in here, and I can put that in my suitcase with the other accessories all together. When you're on a flat surface, which is most of the time, that's where you have it at a regular setting. You can see one of these is worn away a bit. And in the morning when you're tired and you don't want to think or anything, I would go straight to here. See how one's a bit worn? That would be the one I would always tighten on each morning, because you have to, most of the time you have to retract these for storing in the albergue. Sometimes you can put them in a big bin at the entrance, which is great when they have that arrangement. But often you just have to bring them into the room. So it's not a great item to have in that situation. You can retract them. The other option is throw them or put them under the bed like this, towards the back, so they're out of, people can't kick them or step on them. You don't want to break one. So here's the finished, or the setup pole, and my hand would go up here, grip on, and it's just at a comfortable height. If you can see that, my arm's nearly straight. What I want to show you now is the feet that come on these, because Pacemaker have a range of feet options. This one is the most commonly chosen one, especially for the Camino. It's like a rubber foot, and they are very good. They're quiet, they grip well onto hard surfaces, and they're very durable. If you can see that, you can see it's got a bit of wear on it, right? That foot has done nearly 1,000 kilometers, which is an enormous distance for one of these to do. I'm about to show you a brand new one. Look at that. So you can see one of them is a bit worn, but it can still go a bit further. And I found that excellent. That considering the workload it did, how well it held up. That went through bitumen, through gravel, natural rock, through the path, all kinds of terrain. And it was very quiet when you walk through the streets. People had like your traditional spike type tips, like the tungsten ones and that. They're good, especially if you have an unstable surface. I think they're good, but they're very loud, and many parts of the Camino you're going through small towns and villages where people sleep until 9 in the morning, and it's no good going through and clacking your walking stick right a few meters away from where people are sleeping. So these, you just move through like a ghost. This stuff grips onto the hard surfaces like you wouldn't believe. That big surface area, and if you have a good technique, it propels you forward. Because you're going up uneven surfaces, sometimes it's raining, you need to have this leash, you need to use it. What you do is place it out like this, put your hand up from the bottom and grip on that way. So you can see there, it's done this way. If you fall over, you don't injure your hand, and it's also very secure too. So like that. One thing to consider too with these support straps is they can wear your hands a bit. You get like a bit of rawness in your hand if you walk big distances. So what I did is wore sun gloves, and I'll show you more about that in a future segment. Okay, that concludes this segment on trekking poles. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting it together. In the next one, I'm going to look at what I call color coding, which is a great way of keeping your small items organized. So, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next part. Buen camino!